Hey guys, welcome to Bar Z. My name's Stan, here, face. Okay, that's all you're gonna see. Today we're gonna talk about wiring and wiring connections, and I'm gonna show you a few of my favorite tools and a few of my not so favorite tools that I use to make wiring connections and different situations where you use different types of wire, and when you need to protect a joint and when you don't necessarily need to protect a joint. First of all, let's talk about building wire. And building wire is going to be in the form of solid. This is a type THHN number 12 solid. And this stuff is, if you're going to wire your shop or wire some receptacles in your shop or in your house or whatever, solid wire is fine. It's a little cheaper than its counterpart, which is the stranded. But it's got some drawbacks when it comes to machinery, things that vibrate and things like that. If you're working on your machines or around anything that vibrates, you definitely don't want to use solid wire. Basically, it's one giant strand, and you only get one chance for it to for it to break. That's all you got right there. Just one solid piece. So if it's sitting there vibrating, it's going to fatigue, break, snap, done, you're over. So, and it's pretty rigid. You actually have to bend it to get it to do what you want it to do. So, never recommended for machinery. But I'm going to show you how to make a proper connection on solid as long as we're here doing it. And what you want to do is strip. And the last thing you want to do on these, what I want to see happen is when you come down to make your cut, you cut, release slightly. You see how I'm just barely opening up my pliers? You just take your thumb and push. All right? What I don't want to see is you coming down on it and wringing the wire. What you've done is you've created a groove all the way around that one piece of solid, and you've created a weak spot and you've given it a place to break. So I don't ever want to see anyone doing that. And this is the same tutorial I give all my apprentices or anyone that's just starting out. Anyways, let's just make a 2-wire connection. We got 2 number 12s. Just lay them side by side, and you grab your linemans, and I want you to twist in the same direction that you're going to thread your wire nut on. So you're going to twist clockwise when you're looking down on it this way. So I want you to twist clockwise. So you've got one full twist, and then come in and just clip the end off. Okay, so we're even. Now we've done one full turn, and we've actually twisted it in the same direction that we're going to thread a wire nut on. Now this is just a yellow wire nut, but what that's going to do, if we go counterclockwise, or in metric terms that would be anti-clockwise, if we go counterclockwise with it, when we thread this on, those things try to come unwound. This way we're just increasing the tension on it, and you just thread it on your wire nut and firmly hold it up as close as you can here, firmly, and bring that wire nut down, and that you've created a good solid connection in solid wire. And that's building wire. That's for your shop lighting. That's for your shop receptacles, wiring inside of your walls and things like that, in junction boxes or whatever. But that'll create a very good connection for your building. Let's talk about machine wiring and things like that. First off, we'll start at the top of the heap, and this is a type X wire, I believe. This is a nickel wire with a high temperature nylon braid around the outside, and then a silicone jacket. Again, my favorite strippers. We're going to go over all these tools and everything too. You strip much the same way. You just come down and cut that outer, release slightly, and push with your thumb and forefinger. And then all you're going to do is you're going to get that outer jacket off. That braid. You've still got the silicone jacket. There you go. You still got the silicone jacket inside. Then you take that down to your next one. You just gently come in and grab a hold of that. And then your silicone jacket will just slip right off like that. And this is a very rubbery jacket. Now this wire is used for anywhere you're going to encounter heat. This would be like a resistive load, maybe an electric heater, or when you get maybe close to a motor. I know all your motor leads are always going to be a nickel wire. A very high grade wire is going to be coming out of a motor because they expect those to run hot inside the motor junction box. And but the nickel wire is excellent for heat carrying capability. And even though this is only a little number, I believe that's a number 14. It's still good for, I think it's like 35 amp. So it's a good current carrying conductor, and nickel is way up high on the chart over copper. So this is good machine tool wire if you can afford it. Very expensive. Let's go to the garden variety. This is THHN. Let me just cut a piece of this off. I don't want to drag that whole bundle over here. This is a number 10. Type THHN. There's two jackets on the outside. One is just simply a clear pulling sleeve, which makes it easier to pull in conduit, and the other, the actual colored jacket is right below that. So it's got two jackets on board. So when you see, let me show you a piece that got a little marred up. When you see this, see that outer sleeve all kind of boogered up, don't panic. That's just the pulling sleeve, all right? But same methods of stripping. You want to come in, pick your depth and just give it a light crimp, rotate 90 degrees, give it a light crimp, release slightly, and just hold the wire here, use your thumb here, and just push, okay? And then there's your sleeve there. And we haven't, again, you don't want to sit there and grab a hold of that thing, and you never want to see anybody wringing that wire, because what you'll do is you'll cut all the outer strands. See, it's got all individual strands there. And the lay of the wire, that's the way the wire lays in there. They usually come two ways. They're either going to be wrapped slightly clockwise or perfectly straight, one of the two. And to make let's make a connection. To make a connection with stranded wire, we're going to bring these together. And these are similar metals. So we've got you got two pieces of copper there. I still think we're good. Stripped evenly. Our end's nice and even out here. You don't want to see anything leading another one out like that or like that. Get them nice and even, holding firmly right here. Bring them together, get your wire nut started, and go. This wire nut's not really big enough for this, but you get the idea. Okay, so, and when you're done, you grab each individual wire and pull. I go around to apprentices' boxes when they're making up boxes, and I'll grab a hold of the wire nut with a pair of pliers, and I'll yank on each individual wire. And if any one wire pulls out, I pull as hard as I can. If any one wire pulls out, I make them go back and rip all their boxes out and start over. I'm really anal about that, and wiring failures inside of junction boxes just piss me off. So that's a good firm connection. When you're threading your wire nut on, what you want to look for is any one wire actually pushing out. But you want to make sure that you've threaded everything on and gotten on there. All right, so that's a good connection. Now let's say we're no longer in a dry location. Let's say we're in a little bit of a wet location, and we want to protect this joint from some electrolysis or things like that. Let's you can see the way those wires pulled around each other there. Yeah, they actually wrapped. Okay, let's say we're in a wet location and we want to protect this thing. There's two things we're going to do. Let's say we're outside in a junction box, and we expect, I'm not going to say wet conditions, but damp conditions. First thing we have to do is protect for dissimilar metals. And what we've got in dissimilar is we've got copper wire. Even though we're joining two pieces of copper together, all you've got some zinc plated spring down inside that wire nut right there. Where's the lens on this thing? There you go. Down inside, you can see it's just a kind of a square wound spring, like a cone. What we're going to do with this is we're going to use an antioxidant. This is Nocilux by Ideal, and you're just going to take a little bit of this paste. It's pretty thick, and you're just going to put just a dab of it on your wires, and it doesn't take much. And you can use any wire brush. And just take a wire brush and kind of brush it into the copper. All right, so now your wires are protected, and you protected them from dissimilar metals. But what we're going to do next is we're going to make up our joint just like we were before. And we're going to test that connection, and we're good. I mean, in a damp location, we've got a bunch of different things. We've got dissimilar metals, we've got moist conditions. And then to add insult to injury, now we're going to pass electricity through it. So do you think we might have a little bit of electrolysis going on there? All right. We're protected now from the dissimilar metals and any electrolysis. Now all we have to do is protect it from oxygen. And I'm just going to take a little bit of electrical tape. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to wrap I'm going to start by wrapping the wire nut, and I'm going to wrap it in the direction that you're tightening. So I'm going to bring it down and just start slowly bringing it over. I'm going to bring it down over the wires. I'm going to pull firmly. And now I'm going to cut. All right, now what we've done is we've protected that joint from oxygen, and we've given it a degree of moisture protection. And our last step is to take a simple tie wrap and around both wires. We're going to secure that like that. All right. And there's one last step when you are making up boxes inside of an outdoor junction box. When you tuck your wires in, I don't ever want to see anyone going like this and putting the wire nut facing straight down. You know what you just did? You made a little saucer or a dish. That's where water can collect. When you're wrapping your wires up and you're putting them inside a box, even if you have to bend them in a Z or whatever, always put your wire nut facing straight up. It'll shed water like a duck, and you're not going to get any moisture in that connection. So wire nuts always facing up inside outdoor junction boxes. Okay, that takes care of outdoor connections. Let's talk about solderless connectors. All right, this is a simple ground sleeve, just a copper sleeve, and this is where let's say in building wire, you've got all bare grounds within your system. And what you want to do with a grounding system like that, this is what you're going to have in your box. You're going to just have just bare copper coming out at you. Get rid of some of these shards and stuff. My table's getting messy. This is all you're going to have. Just some bare copper coming out of your box. And this is very common here in the States. I don't know how they do it in other countries, but they'll the designators for ground is either a green wire with a yellow stripe, or just bare copper is going to be your ground designator. Now, ground sleeve, that's all it does. It just slips over that. And if you look at the anvil down at the bottom of the lineman's, and I'm hoping you can see right inside of there, that's got a kind of a double pinch on that anvil. So you just bring your wires in like this, and you got one shot to get this right. And that is a legal residential ground. You got one time shot. It has to be cut off and started over. So you always leave your ground tails long if you're going to use ground sleeves. All right? But that's one way to make a grounding connection. Out of here. All right, let's talk about some other type of solderless connections. I'm going to show you two different types. This is the cheap. I'm going to try to aim that at the camera. These are the cheap little lugs, single sleeve. You can see right there, it's got just a little, a single sleeve. I'm going to try to, let's see if I can get this thing apart. See if I have any luck with that. All right. All right, these are the El Cheapo. Oh, I kind of squished it a little bit. These are the El Cheapo connections. Now, if you're going to make up maybe a ground and you have all you've got is a stranded wire, you got to use these. Use that underneath the ground lug or your ground screw. But inside your nylon sleeve, you got nothing. It's just a nylon sleeve. All right, so not very fancy, but for general construction type work, these work just dandy. I'm going to show you another type, which is, they're more expensive, but they're actually a high grade type connector. So I can get this thing apart. There we go. Okay, it's got the same inner with the break in it right at the top. But if you look inside the sleeve, I've got another stainless steel tube. So it's got extra crush resistance, and you don't end up cutting them in half when you go to make your crimp. So these are a very positive connection. These are a very positive connection, and they're like I say, they're a little more pricey, and they're pretty easy to spot. These are the high-end ones here with the double sleeve, and these are the low bucks here. So anything that matters, anything that is subject to a lot of vibration, or you don't want any failures or anything like that, stay with these high dollar ones and look for that double sleeve around them. And next up, we're going to show you how to make a proper connection with a ground lug like that, or a ground fork. All right. This is a number 10, which is the limit for a yellow connector. We've stripped, just like I've taught you before. And what you want to do is check for stick out. I stripped that one back way too far. That's what you want to see right there. You don't want a bunch of wire hanging in right there. Now, I'm still not getting into the tools yet, but I'm going to show you one of my favorites just for crimping these, and it is still this one. So you would just take this and load it. See, I've got the anvil faced right at the break in that little sleeve. And without putting any pressure on it, I'm just bringing wire in, just so you feel the insulation bump into the back of the sleeve. And check again, make sure you're not hanging way out here. And give her a squeeze. I'm going to show you that crimp after I get this out. See if you can see it. See, it's got a double crimp. The way that anvil was shaped in there, it puts 2 on it. And this, you could grab this with a pair of pliers and pull as hard as you want right here. You are not getting that wire out of there. And what you've done to the sleeve, you've made it heart-shaped. You want to bring it around like this and roll that top in like that. All right, so that's how to properly make up a fork for either a terminal strip or for a, maybe it needs to go under a ground screw to ground a box or something like that. But that is a good connection that's not going to fail anytime soon. Let's go over tools. These are a good pair of linemen's. Always look for a crimp on there. This will crimp, it'll crimp most of the yellows. The blues, no. The reds, no. But the yellows are probably 90% of your crimping when you're doing equipment. That's number 12, between number 10, number 12, and maybe number 14 wire. Those will all work there. And they're also handy. It's just a nice heavy pair of pliers, good for pulling, good for crimping, good side cutters on them. These are Kleins. Next up are some old standbys, and these are Kleins as well, but the brand Stake-On is a good brand. I think it's a rebranded thing. They look identical to me in every way. These will cut and crimp 2 different sizes, and you can see the anvils in there. The 2 different sizes, and these will do the 22 to 14, which I believe is your. I'll load that and let you look down there. And this will also do the reds, which is a little tiny sucker that fits in awfully nicely too. And at that point, you've got the anvil pointed at the break in the sleeve. And then these will also do the big yellows. So those drop in here. And that's a 12 to 10. All right, so these cut and crimp. That's all they do. 1-trick ponies or 2-trick ponies. Good for production. If you're running a terminal strip and you got 50, 60 wires to land, you can get through it pretty quick. All right, so that's another one of my favorites. Never discount the value of a good pair of dikes. These are Kleins, got a slightly curved top, get you down tight to something. They're not flush cuts, but they do get in very tight for different types of work. And I keep them honed with a 600 grit diamond card. So. And I don't let apprentices use them, so because you'll catch them cutting flex conduit with it, or steel baling wire, or whatever, grabbing your dikes and doing stuff like that. So no, these have been with me for a long time. Again, Klein. You probably saw this was my go-to tool for stripping, and there's 2 different types. This has a very sharp pair of cutters. Strips nicely, and it's got a little pair of pliers on the end. So this is basically just strippers. This will cut some small bolts, 1030 up to 1032, and all the way down to number 6. So if you're doing fixtures or devices, and you need a screw's too long, you can cut it down. An 832, you could trim it off, thread it in there, shear it off, and dress it back up. So yeah, if you're running a lot of devices, this is the tool for that. They lock closed. I've gotten used to that little feature. It's got that little handle right there that it's just right at your thumb, and when you crimp down, they'll just lock closed. They don't pop open in your bag. So I've just gotten very used to these, and these are my go-to wire strippers. That is also a pair of Kleins. Now, for automotive use and just general purpose, These are great. Throw them in your toolbox, and if you're going to do a little bit of auto work or just some residential work, these will cut, strip, and down here they'll crimp. And they're not the greatest crimp in the world, but they do get the job done. You have to really pay attention to what you're doing to get the crimps to work properly. But it'll do a 16 to 10 and a 22 to 18 insulated and non-insulated. So it'll do the reds, blues, and yellows down here at the bottom. It'll also do automotive 7 and 8 millimeter spark plug wires. And this one as well has a screw cutter around here. Again, by Klein Tools. And I mean, I keep these for an emergency. There's an old pair. I just keep them banging around. They haven't changed much over the years. The only thing I did notice is in these last ones here that I bought, these are fairly new, they got away from the engraved or stamped lettering, and they're just silk screen now. So that silk screening is going to go away. But even these old ones, I just keep these under the seat of my truck just for whatever. You know, sometimes you just need to strip a wire or need to make a crimp or cut a little screw off or something. But those are my go-to pair, a good emergency pair. All right. What else we got? Oh, lineman shears. These are courtesy of Ray Cornelia. Never discount the importance of a good small pair of shears. Now what these are, these have got two very small grooves right there, and they're right up against the blade, and it's been sharpened against those grooves. I'll try to get you a knife edge on it, maybe. You can see what's going on with those. And for like communications cables, if I'm running Belden cable, shielded Belden cable, and you've got maybe a number 16 or an 18 or God forbid a 22 gauge wire, little tiny things, you just lay that wire right in there and drop your thumb over it and just pull that wire, and it strips it beautifully. And if you're going to be cutting the jacketing on some Belden cable, they're always nice to have. These are made by Jameson. Very nice pair of shears. And they're good I use them for cutting splicing tape and things like that. But nice little pair of shears that fit nicely in my toolbox. Okay, here's one last thing. And the mere existence of these things makes some electricians just cringe. These are an automatic stripper. And they're made by Ideal. And I got them when I was working in a panel shop. I was working in a UL 508 panel shop. And I'll show you how they work. Let's get some more number 10 over here off of my loop. Well, what you do is you just plan your stick out. You plan your stick out in your strip cut, and you put them in the corresponding slot right there, and you just pull, and you've got a stripped wire. Now, what electricians make fun of is, what's the matter? Don't you know how to strip wire? You know, with a regular hand tool. This thing is heavy, it's big, it's bulky, and it's a one-trick pony. All it does is strip wire. So carrying these around in your bag really isn't practical. If I had 100 wires in front of me that I had to strip, I'd go get these. But I'm not going to carry them. They're not going to be my daily driver. And like I say, the mere existence of it makes electricians all over the world cringe. But just thought I'd show them to you. All right. Let me show you how to make a motor connection. And it's going to be very similar to a waterproof connection that I showed you here. We're going to be connecting dissimilar metals to motor leads. So we've got copper wire that's coming into a motor junction box. The motor's got nickel wire coming out of it. And then on top of that, we're using just zinc-plated wire nuts to put it together. So we got three different kinds of metals in a motor junction box. So we're gonna, and it's like I say, it's very similar to this right here. Technically, it's identical. We still use the Nocolux, but we need to join some things together. So let's go to that real quick. Okay, so we've got this motor just mocked up. I just got some wire clamped to the table here. And this is a typical configuration that you'd see. You'd have 4 wires hanging out. You've got your 3 phases and a ground. And we can see by our connection data here that this was already wired for low volt before. So we're going to go ahead and make up these connections. These are already twisted together. They're twisted together clockwise again. That's pretty important. So our 3, which are T4, T5, and T6, are right here. And they're, like I say, they're already twisted together in the correct direction, but our lead is way too long. So we're just going to clip, and we're actually going to use an orange wire nut for that to make sure we get a solid connection, because we're not bringing another wire into that. So that one's finished. Next one, we're going to do the 3 lines here. So we're going to prep all 3 of these lines. We're going to bring these 3 down, and we're just going to kind of lay them against each other to make sure everything's going to mechanically line up and everything's going to make our life real easy. So we're just going to cut those 3 off, and we're just going to come back and strip all 3. And now we're stripped back just about the same on our nickel wire. So we've got copper and nickel coming together. That one's a tad long. Just trim that back. And then we're going to check this last one here. That one's good. All right, and again, with the Nokolux, we've got all kinds of things going on inside this motor box. These boxes run incredibly hot. We've got 2 different metals here. We've got copper and nickel. But let's throw in there that little zinc spring. So now we got 3 metals. So what have we got in here? We got heat. We got 3 different metals. And then to add insult to injury, we want to pass electricity through it. So you can just imagine what's going on in there. All right, so we're just going to add a little bit of this Nokolux to the end of each one of these copper wires. Just a dot, literally. And then you're just going to take a small stainless steel wire brush and just kind of brush it in gently. You don't have to get killer with it. You want to make sure your copper's bright, not corroded, not dull, not near the end where it got wet. Make sure you trim it back far enough to remove all the corrosion, but you want nice, clean copper there. All right. In between the copper and the nickel, if they had to be in a battle with each other, copper would lose every day. That's the first one that's going to corrode and start going away. So just bring your wires together, and you've twisted your nickels together, and just lay your copper right next to it, even on the end. If it's not even on the end, clip it off. Bring your wire nut down, and I don't want anyone pushing in on the wire nut. Just feel it thread on and feel it get a hold of all those wires, and just let it thread. And you see where I'm holding it very close to the wire nut and tight. Same on your line 2. That's what you should look like coming together. Equal on top right here. And insulation cut back equally there. And again with your wire nut, when it goes on, just let the wire nut catch. Don't force it down. Just let the wire nut get a hold of it. Start pulling those wires in. Then you can start reefing on it. And last one is here. Tight, done. All right, last up, we're going to make a ground connection. Our standard strip, and load your tool, just the way I showed you earlier. Right to there. I'm going to try to crimp it so you look at the same time. I'll show you what it does. And that's that. And what you've got inside is a ground screw. Never try to wrap stranded wire around a ground screw. That would be silly. All right, a flat blade. Get your grounding done before you try to cram wires in the box. Usually a motor is mounted to something and I can push on it. I can't push on this one, it just slides across the table. All right, got a good firm ground in there. And always pull on your connections. I'm happy with that. Actually, here, I'll swing it down real quick and let you see that ground. Maybe. Maybe you can see in there. Hoping you can see in there. All right, swing you back up here. All right, so we're grounded. We're happy with the ground. We've got no Nocilux in our connections here. Next up, we're gonna tape. Make sure there's no oil or grease or your hands aren't all oily. And you want to come in on your wire nut and again clockwise with the tape. And you're doing this for a couple of reasons. Motors vibrate and wire nuts vibrate off. So this is going to keep your wire nuts in place. Second thing it's doing, it's keeping moisture out of your connection. Third thing it's doing is that if this wiring connection fails, your wires are at least together to a point where they're not going to go out and arc on the box. So we're going to tape all three. I'm trying to do it where you guys can see me, but I'm gonna show it to you when I'm done if you can't see what's going on here. Don't be afraid to pull on this stuff. I'm just using cheap tape. I usually use 3M 33 Plus, which is a very good tape, very stretchy. This is a cheap vinyl tape that we use for wire pulling and just temporary stuff. That one's done, and we're going to do our three here. Just keep the moisture out of there. We did not add Nocilux to that. We've only got 3 wires. They're all the same. I'm not too worried about that connection. I have seen these connections fail though. In the old days, they used to use a screw and a nut with ring type connectors. That is no longer in practice, but you will see a lot of older machinery that has like a nut and bolt type connection. Pardon my arm. All right, so we're done with that. All right, so we're taped. Now all we got left to do is just do a quickie tie wrap on each one. And cinch them down tight. And with these, you could kind of pre-do it like a little lasso, like that. And just drop it over the wire. Bring them together. that's left to do now is put our wires back in the box. But there you have it. There's all your connections, protected from corrosion, sealed against oxygen, and tie wrapped together to prevent any dirt entry or keep the tape from coming unraveled or anything like that. And like I say, I would use a different grade of tape if I was actually doing this for real, but this is just a demonstration. This connection, this is a 20-year connection. If you want something put together and for it to last and not burn up a motor because you dropped a phase, this is the way to do it. All right, guys, thanks for watching.